Well, hello, everybody. Today, again, we have with us Bill Sanderson, who is the president of Urban Community Development. And Bill, thanks for coming on with us today.
Thanks for the opportunity, Chris.
You bet. Well, not many people know about your efforts over the past 18 months to help improve and impact the community with residential development. But so tell us in a minute, what is Urban Community Development about? What is the organization and why was it ever started?
Well, Urban Community Developers is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And our primary goal, and really our only goal, is to build market rate new homes in low and low mod urban core neighborhoods, and only do that on existing vacant lots. So we don't do rehab, we don't tear anything down. We basically take what we call the missing teeth in a neighborhood. A lot of lots were vacated, abandoned, the houses were torn down during the last big real estate downturn. And it's pretty difficult and expensive to build a market rate house in an urban infill environment. It's very tight quarters, and there's a lot, it takes a lot of work. And we found that if we don't do it, it typically doesn't get done. And that leads to continued disinvestment in the neighborhood, because that's really what's going on. Is people have a house, it needs some repairs, but the value of the market in that area just doesn't support spending a bunch of money on the repairs. The repairs don't get made, and then it deteriorates from there. So we take our investment, which is what we're really doing. We're investing in the neighborhood, building new homes that we think are, they're architecturally compatible with the neighborhood. So for instance, if we're building in the main Strasse, the homes look like other homes in the main Strasse, and do we think a really good job of building a quality home. And then we get individual home buyers to come and to make their investment. And their investment is, of course, a mortgage and buying into a neighborhood. And what we're really selling to them is, they have a beautiful, walkable Covington main Strasse neighborhood, but they're living in a brand new house, and it has a lot of advantages as far as the way it functions. Everything's brand new and clean. Energy efficiency is significantly higher than you would get even in a really well done rehabilitation. So we bring those advantages. And what ends up happening after and I've done this before, we start to fill in the holes, and then it sends a signal to other people in the neighborhood that their investment is safe, and the houses begin to be, fixed up and cleaned up, and the whole thing kind of is a virtuous circle.
So the idea of,
we say we don't need to touch every house in the neighborhood. We just need to fill in the vacant lots, and the investment will happen from there. And so far, knock on wood, that's actually been the case.
and the point being, I guess, the rising tide raises all boats kind of thing. And that
Sure.
if you're coming in with a house or two on a vacant lot that otherwise wouldn't have been built on, you now can hopefully be that catalyst, I guess. So speak to the issue of something that probably most people wouldn't think about. Is it what you see there is it's more expensive to build new on a vacant lot in the urban core than it would be out on vacant land out in unincorporated or some suburban area. Is there a percentage of additional cost you see there?
It's not only additional cost. The process is longer because number one, you're generally filling in with neighbors on either side, oftentimes right on the property line, mm-hmm. and they have some agency. Of course, in the main Strasse and other historic Covington neighborhoods, you end up going through the design review process. And so in order to achieve that goal of building houses that fit into the neighborhood, you also have to give a lot going through that process. And then interestingly, and this is not just Covington or these are many neighborhoods, the zoning code doesn't really work well. So in essence, you're not technically allowed to build the house similar to what was already built on that lot. Now Covington has gone through a process, and you were involved in that process, where they've gone to a form-based code to make that easier to accomplish. But we had to go through quite a few variances just to build houses on lots where there used to be similar houses on those lots.
Good point.
Then you get into the logistics. It's very tight. Our lots on the main Strasse on Philadelphia Street are 25 feet wide. And so there's not a lot of room to maneuver. There's power lines, overhead power lines, and the street, and then of course the neighbors and traffic and everything. And if you think about it, every load of dirt that's on that lot, because right now it's grass lot, when you take that out, it's got to go someplace. So you have to put it in a truck. It's a one-way street. It's tight streets. The truck has to be able to get out of there and then get onto a freeway, take it someplace. So the fun just keeps on coming. But be careful what you get good at, I guess.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about the first round of your development. Talk to us about what you've been able to accomplish so far, and maybe some key learnings, and maybe some things that people who, the revitalization of Covington continues. You talked about the efforts that are there. People want to come and move to the urban core. It's a desirable area, walkable, and all the other amenities that you see that exist in Covington and our other urban cities. But walk us through some of your successes and key learnings.
Well, every place you go, it's a little bit different because, as you probably know, all real estate markets are local. So we started down this path and selected the Main Strasse neighborhood and Philadelphia Street in particular, partly because it's a pretty nice neighborhood and it's close to a lot of amenities, and there were vacant lots. And the city owned 3 of those vacant lots. So the city of Covington put out an RFP, request for proposal, for building on 3 of those lots. And we submitted a proposal that said we're going to invest, about $800,000 or more to build for sale market rate homes on those lots. And we were selected as the successful bidder. Then we entered into a development agreement with the city of Covington. And the next thing you know, we have 3 lots. So we went through the design review process and all that we have to do. And we're able to start and build and complete the first 2 homes on 2 of the lots. 2 of the lots were side by side and 1 was a single lot. So we were able to complete those in June. And in fact, took a contract for 1 of them right away and held both of them open for the BIA of Northern Kentucky's Cavalcade of Homes home show. So we actually got a lot of traffic through, and as typical with those Cavalcade home shows, we saw a lot of people from the suburbs. And typically our buyer is going to be either a younger professional, usually without kids, or an empty nester, oftentimes people that are, their kids are grown, they want to kind of be closer to the action. They're not necessarily driving to work every day, although they may be, but they just kind of want to change their lifestyle into something that's more fun, more walkable. And the same goes for the young professionals. And in fact, our first buyer on 954 was a young lady. She's 30 years old. She's a professional. She's been told that she's probably going to work from home at least through the first quarter of next year. Mm-hmm. And she was living in an apartment in an old building in Covington. And, there were some issues with that. And so she was really anxious and had the ability to buy a home. And so she purchased a home. I've met with her a couple times, and she's very happy, has a little dog. So she's got a yard and has a brand new, beautiful home, which I think you've toured it. And it's the cottage. And of course, with the energy efficiency, water efficiency, it's very easy to live in, very comfortable. So I think she's having a good time with that. And then on the 3rd lot across the street, we're working with a customer who came through during the cavalcade and decided they wanted to live in the neighborhood. They are a second marriage couple, both of them with some older children who are in college and in high school, but nowadays not everybody is in college and high school where they belong. So they needed a larger house like our larger home that we built on Philadelphia, but they wanted to make some changes and kind of personalize it for the way that they were going to live, which would accommodate their everyday lifestyle, but also provide enough space so that when everybody was home, they had enough bathrooms and stuff. So we're finishing some extra space upstairs on the 3rd floor and downstairs in the basement. And it'll be a very comfortable and spacious home. But again, because of the energy efficiency and some of the features that we put in, we think it'll be a really comfortable home for them to just the 2 of them live in. And they met at a wine bar on Main Strasse, and they just feel very strongly about moving back to Covington and living in Covington and being in walking distance. And I actually see them downtown once in a while at one of the places having some lunch or something. So it's pretty awesome.
So you've experienced this now this past year and a half, and I think everyone's realized we're in a hot real estate market, even with COVID. Houses are selling fast, and the amount of investment in Covington is probably unprecedented to see that. Can you share with us the range of the market rate housing that you see from what you sold and what you have on the market today, just in terms of dollar range?
Sure. Well, our goal is to stay in the 250 to 350 price point, although customers can certainly exceed that.
Sure.
It's pretty difficult for us to get under that because of all those factors that we talked about before. And remember, for us, that means we don't have a builder's profit. We work with Guston Construction, a very highly regarded local builder, but we use him more as a general contractor and a builder. And then we don't put the typical builder's markup. So you'd have to add quite a bit to that. But if you took a comparable house and you looked in the suburbs, you'd find that, they're priced very competitively against the market. The market is very strong, and I don't think it's in spite of COVID. I actually think it's because of, just like our first customer, a young professional, has the wherewithal, doesn't really want to rent, wants a little bit more room. I think people are more conscious of having a clean, fresh space. They want more space because they've realized living in a small apartment or something like that is, if they're going to be working from home, they really need a little bit more space. They like some maybe private outdoor space, which our homes have a small backyard, but it's got a private patio and just some outdoor space. So a lot of the lower end of the market, when I say lower, that's probably 300,000, is a lot of it's being driven by young professionals or people that are living in a pretty nice apartment. And the irony is they can buy a new home for us with the low interest rates for sometimes less than what they're currently paying in rent if they're living in one of those, kind of swanky places. Yeah. The empty nesters are sort of on the other end. They've got more house than they need, but for some reason what they're living in doesn't necessarily fit their lifestyle and their need. But they're looking for the same thing. They want, clean and new and high performance as far as energy and water and all that stuff, some private outdoor space, and then, convenient to all the wonderful things that Covington neighborhoods have to offer.
Indeed. Well, it's great to see the investment, and we'll just really look forward to seeing the additional success that you all have. In a perfect world in the next year, how many units would you like to be able to develop and to get on the market? Well,
we would like to eventually work up to 15 to 20 homes under construction in a year cycle. That's probably going to take, it's not probably, it's going to take a couple years.
Sure.
First, you have to control the land, and then you have to get on a little bit of a roll. And frankly, in some markets, most markets, the concept of a market rate infill is still a little bit challenging for people to get their heads around. So you have to do a little bit of it for people to be able to see what it is you're really talking about. And that's what we've done, I think, with Philadelphia Street. We've demonstrated that we can build a really high quality home that really looks terrific and it fits into the neighborhood. And, a lot of times when you tell people you're going to be working in a low or low mod neighborhood, they think, well, you're just going to build a, inexpensive home. It's not going to be all that great. It's not going to have much with it. That's the advantage we bring as a nonprofit, is we can really build a house that we hope, 100 years from now, somebody's going to be rehabbing one of our homes. So we try to bring some enduring value to it so that we make a really positive contribution to the community. and create an asset that is both going to be a tax base and a point of pride for the community, but also attract people that may not be living in Covington or the River Cities now, but who would like to. And that's evidenced by the strong response we got in the cavalcade of homes, where we saw a ton of suburban empty nesters who liked what they saw. You know, I think we're probably a little early in the process. They're gonna kind of watch us as we start the house across the street and begin to have more houses under construction. They see the success, that will send the signal. Now, some people they just jump in. They're willing to take a little bit more of a risk, and of course they get a better choice and, you know, usually better pricing. And but there'll be room for everybody, and then we'll eventually spread into some other neighborhoods, which is our main goal. And there are, as you know, lots available in many neighborhoods.
Well, the good news is I think that you're already starting a great direction. You're going to have a great track record. And we know Covington's a great place to live and a great place to have business. And this is just one more additional option that people can have to come and make Covington even greater. So we appreciate your time and your investment, and wish you the best of luck with your organization. And anybody who wants to reach you, we'll have your email there. We'll post on your screen so anybody can reach out, and their website, and to look forward to your great success in the future.
Well, thank you very much. And again, thanks for building that beautiful building just a block away from our Philadelphia home. So, you know, we're looking for somebody that's working in that building to maybe be one of our customers.
You never know. You never know. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.